This is by far the craziest thing I've done so far. Hi everyone and welcome to my new shop. I needed somewhere where I can work on the cars in the shade in a covered area no matter what time of day it is. So I did the craziest thing. I bought a barn slash shop. But without further ado, let's take a look at it. I just closed on it this week, so the sellers did cut off the utility, so that's something that I'm gonna need to do today, but I just couldn't wait to tell you the news. This is one of the biggest projects I got lined up, and I'm seriously excited for it. The shop is 37 by 37, so just shy of 1,400 square feet. At first it feels huge, but once I lay out my plans, you'll see just how fast this space will fill up. I'd turn on the lights if I could, but let's be real, these old fluorescent ones just aren't going to cut it. At least I knew they worked during the walkthrough, and thankfully both doors open wide, so there's plenty of natural light to keep things rolling. I am aware that this isn't going to get done in the next week, let alone in the next year. So I just wanted to kind of organize my ideas to kind of see what are must-haves and what are wants, so that way I can kind of prioritize the remodeling, because there's a lot of things that can't get done, but I just wanted to kind of keep those things in mind. So in no particular order, let's do the walkthrough. Now with Ruby out of the way, you can see just how spacious this shop really is. This is a 20-year-old barn, and based on some context clues, looks like the previous owner also used this as a shop, which explains why these 240 plugs are installed, which is perfect for me so I don't have to worry about these later. There is only one door that you can enter and it needs to be replaced. I don't understand why this door is such a struggle to open. Like, it's almost like you need both hands. One time I did open it and I ended up breaking my nail. So yeah, this guy needs to get replaced ASAP. Is the cactus coming in through there? Oh my God, yeah, that needs to go. There are two workbenches here that need to get thrown out because I personally want to build my own, and something that has me perplexed. Like, I don't understand why this is here in the center. I just feel like it cuts off a lot of the space here. So I need to see what can get done, because yeah, I want this removed. I want to have more open space. And there is this cabinet here. It's brand new and all the shelving is still inside, like the glass shelving. So I don't know, maybe I'll keep it, maybe I'll paint it. The keys in there and the handle I think already broke off, so yeah, I don't know. I guess it can stay here for now, but I definitely want to take down all the shelving here because I just have absolutely no use for that. Definitely needs to get swept up. But considering how old this shop is, the floor actually doesn't look too bad. I'm pretty happy with this. I could work with this. I'm not going to complain. I feel like a lot of people right now are doing epoxy floors, which looks really, really nice, but it's expensive. In my head, all I'm thinking that's just gonna take more money. So maybe for now, I'll just work with this. And then in the long term, I do want to do epoxy flooring. I think that'll look really, really nice. But for right now, it's not a need. It did rain this past week, so I don't really see any like active leaks, or at least that I can tell. I don't know if this is like stained from before, but I'm gonna take that as a win. So the roof is doing a pretty good job, but you can see that the sunlight is still coming in, so I want to get that fixed as soon as possible because I want to insulate the whole shop, since I'm kind of at the mercy of the weather right now. So I gotta make sure it's comfortable in here no matter what's going on outside. Next up is this roll-up door that you have to pull the chain manually in order to open this, and it was just such a struggle, and it's gonna get old real quick. I want to change this out for an automatic one. I want to be able to easily like pull the cars in here or just pass them through here easily, and without having to like get off the car, unlock the door, come inside, roll this up manually, and then go back outside to the car and then pull the car in. Like, it's just gonna be way easier if I do it automatic, especially when it's raining outside and you're just trying to pull the car in as fast as you can. So yeah, that needs to get changed out. Also, it traps so much heat. It feels like a sauna in here, so it's definitely not going to be helpful cold during the summer since it's coming up. So I'm thinking that I'll probably just paint it white on the inside and outside just to kind of deflect some of that heat and make it look semi-nice for the meantime. Those barn doors aren't going to do me any favors when it comes to the wind. Eventually, I'll have both of these doors replaced with something that can kind of help keep the temperature a little bit more comfortable in here. Now, the shop is big enough that you can fit about like 6 cars in here if you play Tetris right and get rid of that pole. But like these shelves are just so bulky that it takes up an entire parking spot. So these are definitely going to need to go. Don't have a need right now for all that space. So I need to figure out how to get rid of that because that is a whole lot of space that it's taking up. And even though this is 1,400 square feet, I want to be able to make every inch of this place count. Also, another thing I noticed is that there are no windows in here. Thankfully, both of the doors open, so there's more than enough sunlight coming in. But what about on those days where it's raining and it's super windy and I want to keep those closed? These fluorescent lights ain't doing us any favors, so those need to get changed out. But I personally like windows because I like to be able to look outside. So that might need to be added to the more urgent list to see if it can get done before I start doing all the other renovations. That's just a preference thing for me. But yeah, I found it weird. There's no windows in here. Even with both of the doors open, I still feel like some of the corners can look a little bit dark. And I've noticed that the current lighting is only alongside the shop. So I'm thinking I might need to add like another beam here so I can add more lighting in here. And I want to do LEDs because I'm trying to keep the electricity bill low here. Yeah, we'll see how that ends up working out. As far as the walls, I do want to add plywood and paint that white just to kind of help brighten up the place. And as well as for the ceiling, I want to paint that black as well as the beams just to kind of give the illusion that it's a little bit taller than it actually is. And obviously add insulin because I want to be able to be comfortable in here. So all of that is probably on the more urgent side of the list because I want to get that done as soon as possible. A loft would be a great addition, but I'm just not too sure how it would fit into this layout. It would be perfect for an office and I could film sit-down videos with like a top-down view of the shop as the background. Plus, I wanted to fit a sofa for whenever family visits, freeing up space underneath for storage. The only concern are the beams. So some measuring will need to be done to see if the loft is even possible without blocking the drive-through. Not sure if I'm getting ahead of myself or I'm just too excited to start, but in the short term, a corner can be dedicated as the office for the channel. Which brings me to my next point, and it is the biggest reason why I needed a dedicated shop, and it's something that I mentioned in Life as a Female Car Enthusiast video, where I touched base on how unsafe it is for women just to kind of be out on their own and film content like this. And I shared some questionable experiences that happened to me personally. So I really wanted to find a spot that I can film long term. Excuse the airplane, give it a second. Well, that was rude. As I was trying to say is I'm just so relieved to finally have a dedicated spot for me to film. I no longer have to go out in random places or random times of the day in order for me to film. I don't believe that comfort and safety need to be compromised in order to film a video. So I'm just so happy and honestly relieved at this point that I now have a dedicated spot for that. Also, that means I'm gonna have all my tools here and handy. So I'm just so excited. I'm looking forward to a lot of this. The overall theme of my shop is obviously going to be gas and oil memorabilia, which gives me the perfect excuse to go to the Swami and get things to decorate. Now, eventually I do want to add car lifts just to kind of make working on the cars a whole lot easier. And I had this crazy idea, as if I'm not crazy already. But since I'm planning on staying here long term, I figured that it might be a great idea to expand the shop more because I think that more space is going to be amazing for growth. That's something that I really want to do. So I need to see how feasible that is. But I think it's very important to kind of keep this drive-through open because I do want to park my trailer back there. And boy, do I have a story on that one because it's giving me a lot of hurdles and it's not fun. We'll talk about that in a different video. I do want to be able to store my trailer back there, so making this a whole lot bigger would make sense in the long term. We've been talking about the interior so much that I need to show you what the outside looks like. It has this old dark wood that's honestly starting to fall apart in some areas. It's not the end of the world, but it definitely needs a facelift, and a quick fix would just be to paint it, but it's just gonna drive me insane seeing that the cracks are still there. So replacing the wood seems like the way to go, but the question is, do I want to go for a red and white traditional barn aesthetic or like white with black? So for now, I think I'll just leave the outside of the barn as it is until I kind of get the other priorities done first inside. And in the front, you do have a sink that's gonna need to be replaced because I was washing my hands and it was leaking here, but very convenient to have one right outside the shop. Now we are on the other side of the door, and as you can see, a lot of these plants are overgrown, and I don't want there to be plants right alongside the wall just because I want to avoid water damage. And you can see kind of in the far back of the wall just how damaged and just kind of rotting. I really want to clean up these plants. Also, it'll just give this a lot more walking space around just to get by through here, and I don't like these cactuses enough to keep. Luckily in the front we do have cement, but in the back here we kind of have a mix of like weed and gravel, which I'm planning on keeping the gravel here, just planning on cleaning this up whenever I do have some time. This would be fine. They have like old rags here. I'm assuming they had cars here before, but for the short term I think the gravel will be just fine here. So for the exterior, the priority is going to be replacing the sink and cleaning these plants because I walked through here a few times and got my hair and clothes stuck to the branches and really don't need an eye being poked out. So there's a lot of things to do with the barn, but I haven't even told you what the best part is. I now live right there. This is my new. It's not exactly new. It was built in 1974, so it needs a ton of renovating. But this is the main reason why I couldn't buy any car parts for the Hellcat or the Raptor, because I was already anticipating getting a house. It not only has a ton of space, it has a barn, and the fact that it needs to be fixed up is actually a plus side for me because I can renovate it to whatever I want it to be. About a month ago, I thought I found my dream property, but it didn't end up working out, and a week right after that, this house came on the market, and it was just too good to be true, and I had to just jump on the opportunity, and it ended up working out for the best. I don't want to show you the inside of the house yet because I want to save that for like a killer before and after video. But what I do have planned though is I do want to open up the first floor and just kind of make it a little bit more spacious, but I need to kind of speak with a contractor first to kind of see what can be done as far as the first floor and the second floor. And then once I kind of get that going, it's definitely going to be taking a lot of the funds and the time. So it's going to have priority over the shop right now, and that's why I wanted to make this video, because I needed to tell you kind of what's going on right now. I am still planning on making videos inside the barn as it is. If you haven't seen any like updates yet on that, it's probably gonna take a few months because that video is probably gonna come out first in a few months. I need that to get done first in order for me to actually move in. I had to put a sweater on. It's starting to get really cold, so I'm gonna show you everything minus the house. If the barn already wasn't my favorite thing, it's definitely this driveway. You can easily fit anywhere between 6 to 8 cars. Like, it is giant, and I still have more driveway in the front of the house. I do have a gate, and I want to paint this black and get some wood and stain it just to kind of give a little bit more privacy just from the street view. And of course, it's supposed to be automatic, but it doesn't work, so that needs to get replaced. This is what the side of the house looks like. A nice big driveway that leads up to the shop. Off to the left is this open area. Now the plan is to clean up a lot of these trees to make space for grass, but with this big pine tree here being the only one worth keeping because it does provide a lot of shade, all these other ones gotta go. And I have some fruit trees in mind that I want to plant instead. And there was a pool here once, and my guess is the original pool got damaged by the roots of some of these plants and trees. Not sure if this is like all concrete or a mix of dirt. To get the pool back, it needs to be completely redone. And trust me, in the back of my mind, all I'm hearing is that's gonna cost money. With that said, please subscribe and watch to the end of the video because every minute here on YouTube counts. So thank you in advance. Behind the shop in this corner are these like really old stalls that honestly are disintegrating. So all of this needs to get taken down. I have absolutely no use for it, and it looks pretty rough here. So yeah, all this would need to go. The stalls are just completely useless, and I think that the space would be way more useful for like future project cars, or maybe even just like a hangout area for the shop. And I want to squeeze a garden shed back here because it's going to be a must, since I want to be able to keep the shop fully dedicated to car related things. With a large backyard, a shop, like honestly, what more could you need, right? I also have a 2-car garage. I would turn on the lights, but no power. And even if I did have power, I can't even open the garage because yeah, that doesn't work either. But I was thinking of making this maybe half of it dedicated to like an at-home gym, and the other half can be for my daily, or just completely make this a gym. That's kind of still up in the air. The priority is definitely the house. Get all that done. And then second, I would say the barn. And then third, maybe the garage, but it's not too bad in here. It's cleaned. I'm not gonna complain. But if I can have a gym in here, that would be amazing. It's really nice that I also have a 2-car garage, but I ultimately fell in love with this property because of the shop. I really just needed a space so I can work on the cars, rain or shine. This past summer, it was just way too hot for me to be outside, way too windy, or like, you know, one thing led to another. So it's super nice to have an enclosed area dedicated to working on the cars. And I can be inside or outside if I want to now. But with the house needing so much renovation, that's definitely going to take up the priority. So bear with me while the shop looks like this for a while. The goal for the shop is to do the renovations on a budget. I fell into this rabbit hole on YouTube of watching other people DIY their dream garages, and that gave me a lot of confidence to be able to do it on my own. So right now I'm literally just like collecting a ton of ideas and seeing what I can do to make this my dream shop. One of the main goals for this property is to be financially responsible, build some sweat equity, and try to DIY as much as I can wherever it seems fit. So I'm super excited for this new beginning. I still can't believe that it's happening. I've been looking forward to this for a few years now, and I'm just honestly really excited to see where this takes the channel as well. And once the house is done, I will finally start buying car parts and installing them. Now, I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, and it happens when it's supposed to happen. So I'm just super excited that we're here now. Thank you so much for watching. I did change the schedule to posting on Tuesdays, so please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Drive safe.